February 14th, 1995. I was a senior in high school, and on that morning, just before first period, I found myself sitting in the principal's office in handcuffs. And as I sat in those handcuffs, 1,000 things was running through my mind. How could you have been so stupid? I wondered what was going to happen to me. And as I sat and I thought, there was a sound. It was a knock at the door. And the principal who was in the office with me, he gets up and he walks over to the door. He turns the knob and opens it up, and in walks a police officer. The principal looked to the police officer and he asked him a question. What are we going to do with him? The police officer looks back and he responds. I'll never forget his words. He's going to jail. The principal looked a little bit surprised. He said, jail? Are you sure? And the police officer was adamant. He said, man, he's going to jail. Look at my arm. The police officer's arm was bruised and he was bleeding. The principal shook his head. The police officer left and the door shut. And there I sat, 2.5 months prior to graduation, expelled from high school on my way to jail, just because of a bad decision that I made. I found myself wishing that I could just turn back the hands of time. Because if I could, I would. Because it didn't even have to be that way. I didn't know it then, but that day would change the entire trajectory of my life. And it would teach me lessons that I now share with thousands of students and entrepreneurs each and every year. One of my favorite rappers growing up was a rapper by the name of KRS-One, and he said something powerful. He said that if you don't know the history of the author, then you don't know what you've read. And so many times we go to workshops or seminars or hear keynote speakers or click on these YouTube videos, and we see that the person on stage, we see the product, but we don't know the process that it took to manifest that product. And as a result, there's a disconnect. So you can't see yourself doing the things and achieving the things that that person on stage has done because of your own struggles. So I wanted to take a different approach in sharing my message on today. I wanted to be transparent. I wanted to be raw, because everything that you see before you, the things that I've accomplished, it stems back to many of the struggles that I've gone through. See, I grew up on a farm in a place called Lake Providence, Louisiana. We farmed cotton and wheat. And somewhere around the mid to late 80s, there was a severe drought that hit the southern parts of the United States. As a result of the drought, the crops weren't producing. So it was a very hard time for my family financially. We ultimately had to file for bankruptcy. And in order to get money generated, my dad decided he'd go back into the military full time. So over the course of the next 4 years, we moved 5 times. Lived in Louisiana, San Antonio, California, and then back again. My dad was one of those old school type of men. Grew up on the farm, had a strong work ethic. He didn't believe in repeating stuff twice. My mom was a teacher and she had a master's degree. So I had both education and the work ethic. That combination made me what most people would consider to be a model student at John Jay High School, until I decided that wasn't good enough for me. I wasn't comfortable with who I was, and I started trying to fit in to be like everyone else. Now, you got to remember, this is 91, 92. That was when hip-hop was in its golden age, so I wanted to be like Ice Cube or the Ghetto Boys or Tupac. So in order to fit in, I literally changed who I was. When I was in high school, no one knew me as Jerome. I had a nickname. I'm embarrassed to say. People called me Neckbone. And I had to look a certain way as well. So I had not 1, not 2, but 3 nugget gold rings. I had 2 rope chains with Playboy Bunny emblems on it, and we couldn't forget the earrings to match. Now, I know it's hard for you to believe that the same guy that stood on stage next to Magic Johnson and won an NAACP Image Award used to look like this. But I brought the proof just so you know. But even though I had everything that this juvenile high school environment would tell you will make you a success, I had the girl, I had the car, I had the look, but deep down, I was unhappy, I was unfulfilled, and I began to do self-destructive things to myself. And it all came to a head on that morning of February 14th because of a fight. Now, I'm going to let you guys guess what the fight was over. I imagine most of you guys would probably say a girl. It was Valentine's Day, and my last name is Love, so I guess they gave it away. But her name was Sean, and she was the new girl to school. And guys, you know how it is. When there's a new girl, all the guys want to be the first to talk to her. And of course, I was neck bone. You saw the picture, so she wanted to get with me, so you know why. And she became my girlfriend. And we dated for about 3 months. And around that time, there was a new guy that moved to the school. His name was Rob. And I soon found out that just like guys want to talk to the new girl, girls want to talk to the new guy. And she ended up dumping me for this guy, Rob. And I remember being so hurt. And I wanted to talk to her, but not in a good way. I wanted to get back at her, but I didn't want to have to initiate the call. Because if I called her, then she would think I was thinking about her, and I didn't want her to think I was thinking about her, if that makes sense. So I came up with a plan. I decided I was going to talk about her really bad around campus. I knew that the word would get back, and when it did, she would try to come confront me, and when she did, that would be my opportunity to turn the tables on her. So the next day, I put my plan into action. I began to talk about her really bad. Word travels fast. By about third period, she heard about it. She walks up to me defiant. She had her hand on her hip. And she said, well, Jerome, I heard that you said that I was this, that, and the other. And this was my big moment. So I said, not only did I say that, but I said this and that. And I went off on her. And my plan worked. She just turned. She left. She was a little teary-eyed. I realized that I'd hurt her. So I was happy. My plan had worked. But my plan had worked so well, she decided she was going to tell her new boyfriend, Rob, and Rob decided he wanted to fight me. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I was neck bone. I was cool. I was hard. I didn't want to fight Rob. Rob was like big old 6'4", 215-pound linebacker on a football team. I'm only 6 foot, 135 pounds on a good day. So we talking big man, little man, pit bull versus Chihuahua. I didn't want to fight him. But unfortunately, he made up his mind and he was going to fight me, and it took place on that morning. Now, word had gotten back to me that he wanted to fight me. So I got to school early, and there was this one area where everybody would hang out and have a good time. So I'm there, and I'm hanging out, and I'm kind of looking over my shoulder, and I'm wondering where Rob is. And before you know it, I see him, and he's coming right towards me. He's putting his hand in my face. He's disrespecting me. And he says, hey, yo, if I hear you talking about Sean again, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And he starts going off on me. I was scared. I wanted to run. But everybody was looking, and I knew that I had to respond. The irony. The thing that landed me in those handcuffs didn't even have to happen. It wasn't about a girl. It was about image. I was fighting for attention, not for her. And while I'm on it, the reality is everything that happened that day, that morning that led me to those handcuffs, it really wasn't even about me. It was about me trying to please other people, trying to be like other people, wondering what other people would say or think. And that's the reality of what stops so many of us from achieving the things that we can achieve, whether it be in business, in life, in relationships, is we're always worried about what other people have to say and what other people are thinking. Back to the story. As Rob was talking, my mind was racing. I remember thinking, it was like a movie. If you've ever seen a movie where there's a main character and there's a lot of activity going on around their mind, I was in one of those moments. And I remember thinking, if I fight this guy, I'm probably going to get beat up. But if I run, everybody's going to laugh. And then I remembered what my older brother told me. I had an older brother. He didn't always give me the best advice. I'll let you decide if this was good advice or not. But he once told me that if you're going to get into a fight, the most important thing is that you get the first lick. So as Rob was talking, I reached back with all of my might, and bam, I hit him. And he stumbles backwards. He was surprised that I hit him. And before you know it, he rushes towards me and grabs me in a big bear hug. And we begin to wrestle around to see who was going to end up on top. And unfortunately, I lost. And I just knew that I was about to get beat up and injured very badly. But luckily, the campus police weren't that far away. And they immediately jumped in to break up the fight. One of the officers grabbed me, pulls me back, and I immediately submitted, and he handcuffed me, and I was saved by the bell. Rob, on the other hand, he decided he was going to fight the police officer, and that's how he got the bruises on his arms. And during the altercation, his gun was actually dislodged in the middle of the hall. And as you can imagine, it caused a pretty big chaos at my school on that morning. And that's how I ended up in the principal's office in handcuffs, expelled from high school, on my way to jail. It didn't even have to be that way. You see, it was there that I began to understand the reality of what it takes to be a success in life and in business. See, neck bone is nothing but a metaphor. Neck bone is anyone that doesn't know who they are. They don't understand their value, and as a result, they're trying to be like other people. Neck bone is anyone that has a low self-esteem and is trying to please other people. See, far too many people work on jobs instead of starting businesses because they don't know their value. I mean, think about that. If you have a job, someone is paying you money. The only way that they have the capacity to pay you that money is if you're making them more money. So you have value. If they're paying you, it's because they're making 10 to 20 times more. So you have to know your value. You have to know your worth. And that's the foundation of success in any arena of life. And that's why I decided that I'm going to share my story. That morning ended with me in handcuffs, but that wasn't the end of the story. In fact, it was just the beginning. And starting in January, I'm going to be releasing a 5-part series on Mondays. We're calling it Motivational Mondays. And I'm going to tell you how that moment became the foundation for everything that you've seen in my life. From providing 714,000 meals during COVID to standing on stage next to Magic Johnson and accepting an NAACP Image Award. It can all be traced back to that day. But before I go, I want you to do 3 things for me. I want you to like this video, I want you to subscribe to this channel, and I want you to share it with someone that needs it. I believe that what we're going to share in this series has the power to change lives. I also want you to get my book, Get Up, Get Out, and Get Motivated, the Entrepreneur's Edition. There's a QR code on the screen, and there's a link in the description below. That book is a powerful book. It's entertaining, but it will give you some powerful tips that will help you to be a success in life and business. Whether you've been in business 30 years or 3 months, it's going to help you. And of course, my last book, Closing the Wealth Gap, that's a great book if you're trying to build your financial literacy, if you want to learn how to build your wealth, and more specifically, if you want to learn how to create passive income through real estate. So until next time, remember, success is not a matter of chance, it's a matter of choice. The day I stopped letting others define me was the day that I started defining my own destiny. So whatever you're facing, get up, get out, and get something.